The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour. You're tuned in to Hoppe Hour, an hour where Hoppe rants about something. Sit back and listen in. Hoppe Hour is on now. Hoppe Hour is on now.
Oh, hello there. How's it going? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. I'm in a great mood. Just got to work for 102.5 The Bone at Bike Night in Clearwater. I appreciate the fans that come up to the tent. I'm in a great mood because I'm freezing outside. It's cold. I'm wearing a hoodie. But when it's cold out here in Tampa Bay, it's 59 degrees. It's not like you hate your life and it's 19 degrees with a wind chill in the Midwest. I'm actually in a very good mood. So we got so much to talk about today on Hoppe Hour. But first, I want to let you know how to get into contact with me. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You don't need a PhD or any type of degree, hey, that rhymed, to get in contact with me. All you have to do is tweet at me, at Ryan Hoppe Radio. And I will be sure to see your messages in real time. So, like, if you send me a tweet, I'll see it right now. Woo, technology. Also, if you have the Hoppe Radio app from the Google Play or iPhone shop, you can chat me live while I'm doing the show. It's a cool feature. I like it. And if you're listening online, chat me, because we don't have a phone line, but you can chat me online. It's just as good. We have so much to get into. So let's get it going. I popped my cherry in a way. I have had sex before. As everybody knows, I lost it to the 48-year-old MILF who was a fan of Rover's Morning Glory in Chicago. And I lost it also to the speed date girl from the show. And then about a month ago, I had sex with a fan from the Bone. But I'm getting really tired of, like, hooking up with radio fans, and I've hooked up with other girls because they don't really care about you whatsoever. Maybe you'll find your true love, Ryan Hoppe, if you keep going after radio fans. Maybe you'll end up having a nice big house, a big radio contract, and great kids if you meet a radio fan. I kind of just don't think that's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow at a Bone event, I can meet the girl of my dreams. I'm just kind of saying I feel like girls that are into radio aren't the ones that you want to marry. So I've been really pursuing to have an outside life besides being Ryan Hoppe from The Bone occasionally and Hoppe Hour. I'm trying to find the separate version. So I've been using the app Tinder and Bumble, and I got rid of it today. I'm done. I'll let the girls come to me. No pun intended. I'm sick of just flipping the apps every 12 hours and having no results, and Bumble's even more fake. They have to swipe on you and then message you first, but whatever. But I was talking to this girl, and I guess we kind of are. I'm not sure what's going on. But it was in November. I swiped right on this really cute girl, and she's 6 foot, and her name is Erica, and we were talking for about 2 to 3 weeks. It's going well. I'm awkward around girls, but it's whatever. I mean, it was a good convo. And my friend Kyle, who will be back soon, Kyle Veet, the executive producer of Hoppe Hour, he's like, Ryan, dude, you got to get her number. You've been talking to her for 3 weeks. I'm like, okay. So he goes, you have to drop this smooth line, rather, which is, I've been talking to you for 3 weeks now. I feel like I need to get your number, which I dropped that line on her, and she goes, yeah. And then she had a smile, and I said, here's my number, 847. I'm not giving the rest of it out. Text me whenever. So I don't hear from her for about 2 weeks, and I'm thinking, whatever, we moved on. And I get a text while I'm at Bike Night, and she's like, what's up? It's Erica. And I immediately got excited. I immediately was like, oh my God, it's a non-radio fan. The girl from Tinder. That never happens to me. So I was excited. We talked for a few weeks, and we were supposed to go out this Saturday before I went to Illinois. But I kind of forgot to message her. She didn't message me back. And I had to get up at 4 a.m. that Sunday morning. So it would have been a weird day to be up till like 11, even though I was up 24 hours. So the date could have worked. But I don't hear back from her. I'm thinking it's time to move on, whatever. And I get a text from her on Christmas, which was pretty cool. You know, you get that smile where you feel like you have swag and you're like, yeah. And she's like, Merry Christmas, Ryan. Sorry I didn't get back to you. So after that, we're talking for a while. And then we were supposed to go out on New Year's Eve. But as I said on the previous podcast on Tuesday, what happened was my plane got canceled because of the snow up in the Midwest for 4 hours. It was ridiculous. Because of 4 hours of snow, everything was ruined. God damn it, Mother Nature. So we had to postpone the date till Friday. And it's one of those things where going in, I was really, really nervous. And it was one of those dates where I wasn't the most smooth. I'm not going to sit here and say I was Casanova and I was completely charming or I was like a romantic guy. But we went to the pub next door to Janice Live in downtown St. Pete. I bought her a drink. And literally, we got there at 8:30. And I look at the clock at the bar after we're talking for a while, and it's going on 10:15. I mean, it was hard to believe that the first part of our day was going on for an hour and 45 minutes. I mean, the conversation flowed. It was about her life growing up in a small town, how she was athletic, everything she's done in life. And I mean, I really liked the girl. It was fun going out with her. It was nice for once that she didn't give two shits that I'm Ryan Hoppe, whatever that is in this town. I mean, it just felt good to go out with a girl that doesn't know who I am. Because it really gets old. Like, I had my heart broken. It was puppy love. I was dumb. There was this girl in Cleveland who I would chase after, and the only reason she was talking to me was because I was on the biggest show in Cleveland. So then the last night in town, she ditches me and has sex with my friend's cousin at the apartment I invited her to, and then 4 months later goes on the show and trashes me. So that was kind of the eye-opener that you need to find a true girl and not ones that are just in it for the attention because they have nothing going on in their life. So what I'm getting at is I really enjoyed this date. So then after we get our drinks at the pub, we then go and get a slice of pizza and we keep talking. And it ended around midnight. So it was one of those dates where you couldn't believe how fast time went. Like, our conversation gelled. There wasn't much flirting going on because she's like a really classy girl. And I didn't want to like go in trying too hard to be horny because I've had this thing where on the previous show I worked on in Cleveland and then the show and whenever I've been on Mike Kelta's show or the night show on The Bone or the Academy Mo show, I always come off as that dude that needs to get laid. I always came off as that dude, no pun intended, that was so horny. And now I'm really taking the route of just relaxing, chilling, and just focusing on radio, focusing on my internship, and just trying to make it in life and not focusing on getting laid. So going into the date, if I would have got laid, great. But I was so focused on just having a nice time. I was focused on being a gentleman and talking to her, and that's how it went. So at the end of the night, I was like, would you want to go out on a second date, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, yeah, let me see what I'm doing next week with work. So I send her a text the next day. I'm like, I had a great time. You were really pretty that night. And my friend said I should have put more emphasis, like you were gorgeous. And then we were talking back and forth, and then we moved on. So then Monday, I send her a text, or Tuesday rather, and I said, what's up, Erica? How's it going? And she has the feature that most girls have online and on their phones, which is you can see if they read a message. And she read it, and she hasn't gotten back to me. So it's one of those things that I'm going to play it cool. I'm not going to be a creep. I don't want to be a weirdo. I don't want to be over obsessive. I mean, there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's like 5 billion people in this world. I mean, she could get back to me after this show, or I could never hear from her again. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I like the girl. She's cute. You could say I have a crush on her. She was fun to be around. But whatever happens, happens. Because I'm taking this route in life where I'm relaxing. I'm not so focused on getting my rocks off. Or as I say on the Mike Kelta show, getting turned up, banging out girls. Like, what does that even mean? Banging out girls. I'm going in with more respect. I do want to have sex. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not waiting till marriage. That's dumb. That's moronic. But I used to go out to the bars in Cleveland or here in town going, I need to get laid. I need to get laid. And then you end up getting even more nervous around the girls, and I'm awkward as it is, but you get even more awkward because you're just looking at them and you're like, it'd be nice to have sex with them. And anybody out there who thinks I'm a creep right now saying that, shut your mouth. You've thought that when you've gone to a club and a girl's wearing a nice dress. Just saying. So I'm going to be open about my love life on air. I'm not going to break down whenever I have sex with a girl, but whenever I do get a girlfriend, I want to make her a feature on the show or a date. I want to be more open with you guys and more real to make entertaining radio, because when I have had Brother Weeze on the show, the radio legend, or when I've had Miggs from BJ and Miggs in Seattle on, whenever I've had different radio people on, they've told me that I need to be open about my life and to not play a character, because a lot of radio guys act like this tough guy and they'll make fun of you on air and exploit you, but they're completely different people off air. My goal is to be who I am on air and off air, and to find the real girl, the dream girl, who embraces me for who I am, which is an awkward goofball with a big heart.
Next on Hoppe Hour.
All right, next on Hoppe Hour. Before I get up on out of here, Penn State fraternity brothers will not face criminal charges for hazing a student who later committed suicide. Ridiculous. I'm not sure if there's actual charges that could have been faced towards them, but these imbeciles should be banned from the school. And I will get to that and more after this, but tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. Also message me via the Hoppe Radio app and via Spreaker Online. We will be right back on Hoppe Hour after this.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.
Hey, it's Ryan Hoppe from the award-winning Hoppe Hour, and I'm here today to speak about my guy, Brandon Langley of Buzz Designs. Is your website so atrocious that you can't even be found on Google? Do you need your website to be updated? Or do you not even have a website? Do you need to get some graphic design done? Do you need advice on computers? Are you just lost in general? Trust me when I say my guy, Brandon Langley of Buzz Designs, is the man for the job. Buzz Designs has built websites that have gathered millions of views. He has worked with some of the biggest names in app development in 2015. The unique talent of the developers from around the world come together, and they will help you expand and grow immediately. With their hard work and their die-hard ethic comes the affordable pricing. So trust me when I say Brandon Langley is the man for the job. He will tackle any challenge, and he will not give up until the job is done. When I came to town here in Tampa Bay, my website was crap. I met Brandon Langley at a concert. He recognized me. 2 months later, I am so proud of my website, hopperadio.com. He can make you proud of whatever you want to share in 2015, when it is so vital and it is so important to have top-notch websites and top-notch graphic design for your product, your company, etc. To get into contact with Brandon, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is go to buzzdesigns.me. That is buzzdesigns.me. And there at the website, you can contact him. Be sure to leave your name, your email, and he will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm a man of my words. And trust me when I say Brandon Langley of Buzz Designs is the best around and the best in Tampa Bay. There is some breaking news, and I mean breaking news. When you listen to the podcast on demand, it won't be breaking anymore. But if you're listening live, there is some breaking news that has been tweeted out by SportsCenter just 5 minutes ago. This isn't breaking news where it was an hour ago. This is just breaking as Hoppe Hour is live. And here's what it says at SportsCenter on Twitter. The Buccaneers have fired head coach Lovie Smith. He went 8-24 in 2 seasons at the helm. Wow. I did not see that coming whatsoever. I could kind of see where they're coming from because they lost the last 4 games of the season. And basically, he did this really bizarre tactic with the media where he's like talking about next season in a way. Like whenever they would lose the last 4 games, he was almost pleading for his job, sort of like the coach of Cleveland that got fired. He was saying, give it time. Come on, guys, just don't give up hope. We got talent here. It didn't feel like he was winning in the now. It just kind of had the vibe that he was desperate and he knew his time was up. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some sports analyst because sports analysis most of the time is the most hypocritical, fake, scripted BS you'll get out there. A lot of those sports networks are full of these analysts who were either backup players and were never good enough to be super badass players in the NBA, NFL, MLB, unless you have like Warren Sapp or one of those guys. There are a lot of times role players or bench players who talk smack, or you have punks like Skip Bayless who are just nerds who write these articles and speak BS on TV. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some sports analyst, but I will say this. There's something about Lovie Smith and his lack of hyperness on the side of the field that just bothered me when he was the coach of the Bears. Now, it's one of those things where you don't want Mike Singletary from 2008 or 07 when he's mooning the locker room, or you don't want Jim Harbaugh who's freaking out and breaking clipboards. You don't always want that spaz of a coach. I mean, look at Bill Belichick. Sure, he's a scumbag who cheats, but he's won 4 Super Bowls. He knows what he's doing. You don't always need that hyper coach. I mean, Dungy was quiet. A lot of the guys are quiet. The coach of Pittsburgh is pretty chill, even though he gets mad. What I'm getting at is you don't always need the hyper-passionate macho man coach. But there's something about Lovie Smith's demeanor that he just doesn't seem like head coaching material. He had good defensive players on the Bears, including a Hall of Famer in Brian Urlacher. He had Devin kicking off returns. He had Rex Grossman, who was decent. He had all these players, and they went to the Super Bowl once. They made the playoffs twice when he was there. And he brought in Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator. They went through so many different coordinators. It's just, I don't think he's an NFL head coach. To me, he was a journeyman coach who was decent when he was coaching the Bears. But this is a good decision by Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers to get rid of him as a coach because you have something, as it seems, in Jameis. I'm not sitting here and saying I'm a sports analyst. Maybe he'll be a bust, but you obviously have something. He had clutch moments this year. And you don't have time to waste when you have a coach who seems too laid back and not in the moment and sometimes seems out of it. But I will say this. Lovie Smith might be an average to mediocre coach, and we will see how much he is as a coach and how well of a coach he is by whoever they get next year. If they can't bring in a good name and they get a coach who's average and the team's even worse next year, then maybe Lovie Smith is a decent coach and there's not enough talent on this team. And I'm not giving all the details on all the players because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know Buccaneers football 101. There's sports radio to listen to if you want to learn about the Buccaneers. I'm just saying he didn't have the most talented team, so either he didn't get the most talent out of them or it's not fair that he's been fired and the team needs better talent. But next year, by the end of the year at this time, if they're in the playoffs or they just missed the playoffs, but maybe they're 9-7, 8-8, 10-6, or if they're 2-14, that's when we will know what type of a coach Lovie Smith was. It's not going to take a few years. No, it will be next year at this time, officially when the season ends, when we will know if getting rid of Lovie was a good decision or bad decision. But to me, before I get on to this news about the frat, I'm not going to keep talking about Lovie because I'm not a sports show. But I will say this. He's not a coach that's going to lead you to victory. He's not a coach who's going to lead you to a Super Bowl. And this city hasn't won a Super Bowl in about 13 years. So if they want to make it far with Jameis and to be competitive in the NFC South, maybe getting rid of Lovie made sense. As I recap this rant, all I'm going to say is this time next year, we will know if getting rid of Lovie was a good choice or a bad choice. All right, we have a live message here on Hoppe Hour. My guy Devin said, I don't even know anything about sports. Yeah, me neither. I love watching sports. I love watching the NBA. Any game that's competitive, I'll watch. I like watching NFL, although this year has been utter trash. There's just something about it, maybe because the Bears suck and the Buccaneers weren't that competitive and the Patriots were good. I don't know. I just wasn't really big on this season. Like they usually say this. They'll go, but you'll watch the NFL, talk all the smack you want, but you'll watch it. But I want to see what the ratings were for the NFL this year. I feel like there was so much parity that it might have been down this year because I watched maybe 4 games. I don't know if I watched the full game. I think I watched one full game. Now, granted, I was doing pizza delivery till November, so I didn't have time to watch it, but I had no interest to keep up with the scores. And I truly believe that Roger Goodell is ruining this league. But I do like watching sports. I'm just never going to talk about it because I can only talk about sports for about 3 minutes, just like there. There's the most sports talk you'll ever hear on Hoppe Hour. Yeah, I'll rant about Johnny Manziel's personal life and what he does off the field, but you're never going to hear me break down if he goes 8-15 with 99 yards. I'm not a sports analyst. Most of it is BS. But yeah, I like watching NBA, I like watching NFL. I guess the MLB at times, the playoffs is cool. Hockey's all right. So, yeah, but let's get to the part of the show that I'm best at, which is ranting about the news and not really sports. All right, Penn State fraternity brothers will not face charges for hazing a student who later committed suicide. This is from the dailymail.com. Marquise Braham, 18, jumped to his death off a hotel roof in March 2014, so it's going on 2 years now. His father said the teen appeared to suffer a breakdown after the hazing. Richard Braham, his dad, sued the school, the douche-bag Phi Sigma frat, and 4 members. But a grand jury found no evidence to linking the hazing to his death. There might not be specific evidence. There might not be a handwritten note or tweets online or Facebook messages, but it seems to make sense that he would be depressed after these scumbag, douchebag frats that haze the freshmen because they're losers who are overcompensating for being pussies in high school, because that's what these frats are. They had nothing to do with their life in high school, so now for 4 years they want to act like they're in charge of something. Of course you can link this kid to killing himself with the frats bothering him. I mean, I look at a picture of him. He's got muscle, but he seems like a very nice kid. And you know these scumbag frats, these imbeciles, these alcoholic cretins, you know that they ate him up because they saw him as like a guppy and a fish. The frats were a bunch of sharks, and he was a little guppy fish you can get at PetSmart. They saw that he was timid and nice, and they took advantage of him. Frats make me sick. You have these kids who are very good at sports, and those are the douchiest of frats. But then you have these frats that are the worst. And these are the frats, and I never went to college. I went to a radio trade school. So you might say, Hoppe, how do you have the right to talk about it? Because I can read Facebook pretty well, and you read these news articles. And the worst frats are the kids that were almost cool. They're the kids that were on the swimming team. They had a girlfriend that was a 7 or 8. Like, they had decent lives. They had money. They were the B squad cool kids in high school. But now they run a frat, so they feel like they're a part of something, and they want that power trip because they had strict parents at home. They were the youngest of siblings. So for once, they feel like they're a part of something. So these scumbag leeches of kids, these embarrassments to my generation, these punk-ass millennials, what they do is they tease these kids, they make them butt chug, and it's almost kind of gay. Like, there's nothing wrong with being gay, but these dudes are so macho, man. I'm in a frat. Yeah, look at me. And then these are the ones that end up being the weirdest dudes ever. The most insecure, out of touch creeps. And now you're saying, how can you say they're a creep, Ryan? They're not like Dahmer or Jerry Sandusky. You can be a creep when you make fun of someone so hard that they take their own life by jumping off a hotel roof, you scumbags. All right, here's the article. Members of the Penn State University frat will not face criminal charges for hazing a kid who later committed suicide, it was announced today. Pennsylvania Attorney General Kathleen Kane said a grand jury has determined there is no evidence to support criminal charges in the death of Marquise Braham. The 18-year-old, a freshman at PSU's Altoona campus, jumped from the roof of a hotel in Uniondale, New York, to his death in March 2014. The teenager's father sued the school, the douche-bag Phi Sigma Kappa frat. I added that. It wasn't in the article. And 4 of its members, and alleged that his son appeared to suffer a breakdown following the hazing, which included excessive drinking, and then you get the sleep deprivation because when you get so drunk, you don't often sleep because you black out, and it's not really sleeping. It's like Michael Jackson and propofol. It's not really sleeping. And forced fighting. Oh, yeah, we're macho. We were on the gymnastics team. We're a bunch of twigs. But, yeah, we're going to make everyone fight because that's what's manly and that's what's cool. Hurting each other, not going out and flirting with girls. Let's be manly and beat each other up like we're Anderson, Silva. Yeah. Ugh. Good riddance, you pussies. And I don't like using that word because it's easy radio, but you're pussies if your idea of hazing is, hey, yeah, we're going to have us force fight. We're going to force fights because we want to be like Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore because we have nothing going on with our life. And we have the IQ of a dead rat. Ridiculous. I hate these frats. And then you, of course, see these posts on Facebook where they have to tag like 90 of their frat members. And they're like, this was an epic night, bro. I found out what brotherhood is like. Found out what the meaning of life is. I love everything. And you know all they did was get blackout drunk, take advantage of girls, and act like utter imbeciles. Like, not all frats are like that. There are a ton of great frats. But the ones that have to talk about it all the time are the insecure douchebags like this frat that caused this kid to jump off the roof. All right. However, the judge said that the grand jury said there was a report that there were many issues going on in his life. And here is what his dad said. The grand jury's report should shine a light on what can happen to 18-year-olds when they go off to college. Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at pictures. It's so heartbreaking. He seems like such a nice, genuine kid. Like someone I'd want to hang out with. Like, he's kind of skinny. He's not very intimidating, so you know they just took advantage of him. Like, he's just, like, it breaks my heart. He just seems like such a good dude. So it's sad. All right. As the grand jury makes very clear in its report, it is imperative that we take motions to protect young college kids who are experiencing a vulnerable part in their lives. We must do more to prevent these kids from becoming victims to dangerous situations when many are acclimating to being on their own on the first time. Representatives for the university did not respond to a request for comment. Of course they didn't. What do you expect from a scumbag university like Penn State? The same one that covered up pedophilia for about I don't know, 30 years, the same scumbag fraternity that kissed Joe Paterno's ass when they knew he was helping cover it up because he knew about Jerry, I would expect nothing less from the Nifty Lions. I would expect nothing less from Happy Valley, you creeps. Of course you're not going to say anything because you're caught like a rat in an alley in Manhattan. Of course you're not going to say anything. What are you going to say? Oh, yeah, we had a douchebag frat full of kids who caused the kid to take his life. What are you going to say, you imbeciles? Okay. The attorney for the Braham family said they were disappointed, though not surprised with the decision. And here's what their lawyer wrote. It is clear to us the grand jury was denied access to a good amount of evidence detailing the outrageous hazing he went through and its direct connection to his death. Listen, I don't want to sit here and be a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to sit here and make outrageous claims and be this shock jock where I just say things to be edgy. But I will say this. A lot of times when you're in frats, you have a lot of money because you're entitled, and that's why you join a frat, to fit in. I wouldn't rule it out. To me, it's not out of this world that there's potential that maybe these kids who were the defendants, these punk-ass frat boys, these imbeciles, these wannabes, it wouldn't be out of the question that they had really good lawyers who got them out of it. Because how can you not have evidence? There has to be a Facebook message or a text to the mom. I hate my frat. There has to be something. There's no way he was just quiet about it the whole time. There has to be a time he said something. And shame on this grand jury for not stepping up to the plate and making a statement. It shows that if you're a frat and you have money, you can do whatever you want. Shame on you, Pennsylvania. What an embarrassment. Once again, you kissed the ass of Penn State and Happy Valley. Good riddance. They go on to say, so too, the grand jury was not given access to mental health experts and friends and family of Marquise who knew the truth about his psychological crisis and its direct link to the brutal hazing. So pretty much, they didn't feel like doing the evidence. They didn't feel like putting in the effort. They didn't feel like even looking into it because they're up Penn State's ass. It's like, to me, they find getting along with the university and not burning a bridge, maybe they're fans of the football team, more important than a kid who took his life because of a douchebag frat. His life is gone now. There might not be an afterlife. He's dead forever. He's gone. He was 18 years old. He took his own life. He took the action to jump off a roof. Isn't that enough to maybe put some effort into this case, you douchebags? Good riddance, man. There's no heart. That's why the law sucks. Getting lawyers is a joke. They can get away with anything. And of course Penn State's not going to comment. Bunch of imbeciles. Utterly ridiculous. Oh, God, it gets me mad. All right. Here's what it goes on to say. The bottom line is Penn State knew about it and they were just in hiding. That's what the quote says. They all knew and sadly did nothing to intervene and save his life, which makes me wonder, maybe there was the chance, maybe there's the possibility that maybe they knew about it the whole time. Maybe he went to a dean. Maybe he did something like that. And they just kind of blew it off and said, keep on grinding, kid. You'll be okay. That's what it makes me wonder when it says that they knew about it and did nothing. And this is when he jumped off the roof during spring break, month after he pledged in the fall of 2013. And they interviewed 11 witnesses, including his fraternity brothers, and they got nothing out of it. Whatever, moving on. And they said that this was a fraternity-wide problem, but there's no evidence. You can't prove that he killed himself because of the frat. Not enough evidence. Man, before I end this show, I just want to say, man, having money must be nice. Man, having rich parents that care about protecting your reputation even if you're a scumbag, must be nice. It's just sad how money and law and lawyers can get in the way of a good case. I'm not saying this case should have gone on for 10 years. I'm not saying this case should have been dragged out, but the fact that you're not going to even look at any evidence that the family probably has, if they're saying this publicly, obviously they had evidence, to not even look at it. Anybody who denied the evidence, anybody who didn't want to put in the effort is pretty much a sick-in-the-head douchebag who only cares about getting the case over with and does not care about lives. Because if you really cared about lives and humanity, you would have gone through with the evidence. So basically, you're no different than that douchebag frat.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.